All right, guys, so this is a discussion that has been all over my timeline today, and I felt like why not make a video on it? Later tonight, we're going to get the Dokkan reveals for the part 2 LRs, and after that, we can kind of focus on all of that. But, yes, Legends actually did officially reveal that they're getting a new rarity, a legend rarity, and they're starting off with the Super Vegito character, which, I mean, this looks really cool. This was announced off of the World Championship, and we can even take a look at some of these like Legends animations just a little bit. I think it's really interesting what's happening with this new kind of I guess character rarities, that they're getting some unique extra, not necessarily mechanics, but things added to their card art and animations. So like we see, again, what do they say? They say specifically legend exclusive action. So like they're in Legends, I think there's like a top stage and a bottom stage now. Like there's the ground and the sky. You see there's like all these ink effects here, which we usually would see in like ultra characters, which are essentially like Legends Limited were essentially what the Legends equivalent of Dokkan Fest TURs. And then ultras are basically like the somewhat equivalent of like LRs to an extent, right? In terms of the direct rarity. Now, of course, Dokkan has like Dokkan Fest LRs, Carnival LRs, which are all different things. Kind of. It's weird to directly correlate them to Dokkan because it's not really an exact comparison, but I think you guys kind of get what I mean. So with that in mind, people have been talking about, could Dokkan get a new rarity? Would Dokkan introduce a new rarity? Things like this. I'm going to start off by saying I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Dokkan is going to introduce a new rarity of any sorts, and especially not a new rarity above LR. I think LRs just kind of feel good to me. Like, I don't think a new rarity is needed for Dokkan to kind of push forward, but let's entertain the idea of a new rarity potentially. What we do need to actually address first is this legend rarity is actually not even replacing, or it's not a new like step above ultra characters and legends. What this legends rarity is it's going to be replacing these LFs. So we see here like the Super Saiyan 3 Mini Vegeta, this Janemba, this Gogeta, Father Son Gohan. Like, these are Legend Limited sparking characters, which sparking characters have been in the game for a very long time. What they're doing now is every single new Legends Limited character is actually just going to be a legend rarity character, and they're still gonna have like their legendary finishes and things like that. So it's not really like an addition to existing things. Like, it's not like, oh, we're now making ultra characters with Legends Limited kind of finishers, right? They're more so just replacing this sparking Legends Limited rarity, which in that scenario it would be more so of like, okay, let's take out some Dokkan Fest TURs like Android 16, or the Ultimate Gohan, or Gamma 2 Plus Piccolo. Like, these characters, these Dokkan Fest TURs are essentially being upgraded from like just being a normal TUR to like an LR status type of character, which in Legends would kind of, I think, even out the hype between each of these different releases and make them look a little more unique and things like that. Now, when it comes to Dokkan, right, again, like I said, I've seen a lot of discussion. Legends is just upgrading these sparking characters. I do think that a new rarity, as much as people would say they would hate a new rarity and not like it, whilst I agree it's not needed, I do think that a new rarity would still excite a lot of people. Like, no matter what we say about like, oh, in concept it sounds really bad, I think getting something just like new and fresh in the game would actually still excite many people and bring interest back into it. Like, oh, what is this? Or just kind of turn eyes towards the game and seeing what's going on. And from there, it's all about the execution. Now, the thing is though, like, Dokkan doesn't need to do this, right? I think that it's not a thing that the game necessarily is like requiring in the future, but I think, you know, depending on how they handle it, it could be interesting to see, because we're at a point where it's like we've gotten so many versions of the same exact character, kind of like what the spot I think Legends is in a little bit, where it's like, okay, since we've gotten so many of the same characters over and over again, what could they do maybe to make them be able to release the same characters but with a new fresh look to them? Maybe a new rarity could be something like that. Let's think of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan for the last anniversary, right? We just got Super Saiyan 2 Gohan during the 10th anniversary, and it's like, okay, are they never going to release another Super Saiyan 2 Gohan? Like, maybe what they could do is like, I mean, okay, I have a couple ideas for, like, you know, and again, I don't think it's gonna happen. I need to really push that. I don't think Dokkan's gonna do this. But in the situation that they do this, what if these Dokkan, like, what if they introduce like a new rarity? And the new rarity version of these cards have the unique Dokkan original super high level animations. I think there's 4 characters to me that stand out. Even like father son Kamehameha, but like there's really like a few characters that stand out to me that have this extreme level of like Dokkan unique animations. Now only I feel like, again, we'll talk about Super Saiyan 2 Gohan here. I think this guy, his active skill looks really good, and it's in that like similar filter and look to even the other 10th anniversary and GDC like kind of LRs with this. Like, it has that same filter to it. I think this looks just like really good, but this is still just recreating a moment from, I feel like it's more like manga centered than the anime centered. Still looks really good, but we see this like effect where he just does the final push, is like, ah, you know. Yeah, this is definitely like more so of a manga-ish reference, but you see this is like something that we didn't see like in the anime, right? But more so like, I mean, again, we could talk about like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I guess, and future Gohan and Trunks more so, but like these original Dokkan animations with this type of filter, what if they're like, hey, these characters are going to have a special label to them, we'll give them a mechanic unique to those characters, and then they have these new original unique kind of selling point animations that really push the edge. Then these other characters, you know, while they could still have, you know, anime based or manga based kind of animations, these characters are the big boys, you know. But again, it's not a thing that we need to happen for Dokkan to continue doing successful. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, you know, we need a new rarity to continue selling these cards or continue doing it. But again, it could give them an excuse to and essentially resell these characters without it being like, oh, you know, we're getting another Blue Evolution Vegeta for anniversary. We're getting another, you know, I don't know, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan for anniversary. This is not loading. Like, I feel like that would be one thing that they could do, because at the end of the day, for these anniversaries and these major celebrations, I mean, as much as people don't like to admit to it, they're gonna do the same realm of characters over and over again. Eventually, we're gonna get to retreads and things like that. Like, a lot of people are saying Namek for anniversary. In my opinion, that's more of like a GDC thing, if they even do it as GDC. Like, what if they do it as Golden Week? What are, I don't know. Like, I mean, they did it for Worldwide before, but Dokkan doesn't innovate, and I think that's another issue with it. But again, we'll talk about that point a bit. I said technically the last time we got a new quote-unquote rarity, there was a new coin for them, and also pissed a lot of people off. Like, we got to keep in mind, okay, if they introduce like a new type of rarity for these characters, I would assume we would get also a new coin. Like, I don't know, what color coin do we have left? Like I mean, what if it's like a full rainbow coin or something? Hands are up in the air. But it would mean a new type of coin for characters, which I think would also upset a lot of people, especially with what we saw with the carnival coins. I mean, in my opinion, what I would say is, if they're going to do a new rarity, maybe the best case scenario would be just to replace DFELRs. DFELRs, they're gone, right? well, not Dokkan. Okay, like it would be replacing the major celebration DPLR. So like again, let's say Super Saiyan 4 Dynamic Goku. Let's talk about I don't know, Super Saiyan 4 AGL Gogeta or something like that. Like those characters, instead of being DPLRs, or I guess Gogeta 4 isn't a DPLR, but you guys get the point. Where it's like we have Dokkan Fest X Carnival. Instead of a Dokkan Fest LR for these major celebrations, it's a new character, or it's a new rarity. Like Ultra LR or something like that. I don't know. Like I can't really Ultra Rare or something, where it's like, okay. Then what they do is DFE TURs would actually just end up becoming DFE LRs, just like we see for, well, we saw for Goten and Trunks, but Goten, Trunks, and Gohan. But it's like, I feel like that's just like a pointless change, no? Like that's like, that would be kind of the equivalent of what they're doing in Legends, where it's like, okay, now DFE TURs are now DFE LRs, and then because they're kind of just like upgrading these monthly releases, and then maybe anniversary celebrations get the actual new rarity. I guess it's not kind of what Legends is doing, but I don't know. I don't think I would like it. I mean, there's a reply here. This would suck ass. There's no good reason to get rid of TURs at this point. You don't want to a new rarity by sacrificing an old one, especially if it's not worth it. LRs are good enough. Yeah, again, I would agree. Like we don't need a new rarity at all. It's not something that people would want. It's not something that I would want. And I'm getting a lot of replies, right? Truth even says, I don't know if adding a new rarity would be a good thing. It has been 10 years of LRs. And I don't think it'd be a very pretty look, honestly. People's reaction to this. Like, I saw Herb's comment, man. I'm not gonna read it, but yeah. I mean, let's see. You've seen a lot of that outside the community discussing whether Dokkan needs a new rarity after Legends. You think at this point it doesn't make sense? The game is very well established. Yeah, a new rarity would bring potentially more negatives than positives. I mean, I think another thing about it is a lot of people are saying, oh, it doesn't really bring anything new to the table. There's more than enough coins. The thing with Dokkan's rarity doesn't mean much, that they all have the same pull rate. Tag units can be considered a new rarity. I mean, yeah. I guess so. Don't need one. An actual good mechanic. Like, I mean, yeah, like these units I talked about could have been another rarity. Theoretically, yeah. Like, I think that's one thing where it's like, because they already introduced these characters with these like new animations kind of thing, I feel like if they were going to introduce one, they would have done so with those characters anyways. So that's why I'm not like expecting them to do it. Like, I think it's just a fun discussion, I also think that Dokkan is not really that creative sometimes, right? Vector did say this, and I agree, where it's like you can't think of anything they can't currently do that they could with the new rarity. And that's true. But the thing about a rarity, it's more so about marketing, right? And it's like, oh, it's different if it's like, oh, here's another Dokkan Fest LR Super Vegito. But instead it's like, oh, it's our first Super Vegito of this rarity. I think that's what makes it different in people's minds. In terms of that, it's like, I think you guys kind of get my point, where it's like, that's where people are like, if it's the same rarity, getting the same character again sucks. But if it's a new rarity, it's like, that's a little more exciting. But if you really think about it, it's like, it doesn't really matter if it's a new rarity or not, because they could still just get a new mechanic anyways. It would have to be like a completely unique art style, completely unique animation effects, maybe like a new unique mechanic just to those characters. That would be like, it has to just be, everything about them is new and unique to just that cast of characters. But again, this could still fit just existing characters. Like, I think that it's only purely for a marketing point why you would make a new rarity, at least in my personal opinion, especially when it comes to Dokkan, who's already well established. But what if Dokkan does super easy units with new super attack animations and alternate art? I don't really see it. You've been cooking with the idea for the EX supers and how it can be activated in the future other than just pure chance. I mean, yeah, like EX supers are also not really that great of a mechanic. Like, again, we think about all the mechanics that Dokkan has released in the past anniversaries. I think the only one that's like brings something new really is taunt and the tag mechanic. The tag mechanic is kind of like just exchange, but like slightly more, but like it is still, I think, a bit new, and the way they design these tag characters are more unique. So I'll give them, like, for sure tag was good, but like, okay, we think of EX super attacks, you know, it's kind of whatever, right? I don't believe GDC had a new mechanic, at least at the top of my head. 10th anniversary, we did have the what's it called? We have the tag mechanic, which is pretty good. Then we go back to 9th anniversary, we had the well, we had, I think, domains and target skill, which both were really cool and interesting. Like, I think that 9th anniversary might have been the best year in terms of the mechanics that introduced, because both target skill and domains were pretty cool. I don't know why they haven't even done more domains besides Omega, of course. Then we go back to the 8th year. Standby is not really anything special, just again active skill, but the same thing. We go back to the year before, we had intros, which are just, you know, it's cool, but it's like intro animation is not like bringing anything mega special. It just makes these cards look slightly better. It doesn't really affect the gameplay to that extent, right? We go back to the 6th anniversary. Revive is pretty cool. I guess it depends. Maybe it's more wishy-washy than I thought, but that's where it's like, I think maybe more so recently that Dokkan could get a little more creative with what they're doing with these characters. But either way, let me know what y'all thinking. I hope we don't see a new rarity, but you know, I just feel like it'd be a fun discussion. Appreciate y'all, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.